All right. We're live. Tommy Z, Johnny Bravo. That's deep. Last week's card started off pretty well for us. The main card kind of shit the bed. My DK kind of died off with the Tercios cancellation. But what are your thoughts on that card? What are your thoughts?
Overall, not a too exciting card. Yair's fucking ass cheeks. He fucking sucks. And
That was brutal.
Moreno seems to be slowing down from
Yeah.
all those wars he had with Figueiredo and Pantoja. Seems to be slowing down a bit.
I literally thought we had an easy win with Yair when Ortega hurt himself before the fight.
Yeah, he was jumping up and down like an idiot and twisted his ankle. Yeah.
And then just domination in the first round, looked like he was completely dead. And
and then something.
Yair can't stop a takedown. That's just the story of his career.
He sucks. He's not good.
We know that going forward, though. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
When Ortega's a dog, there's no doubt about that.
Oh.
This card one. We've only got 11 fights on the card. We've got a lot of big time favorites, but we'll break it down as best as we can, and hopefully we find some value here. So I guess we'll jump right into it. Actually, let me pull this up real quick. Our first fight of the night. There we go. We've got Loic Rajabov taking on Abdul, Kareem AlSaadi. Too many names. But what do you like in this fight?
I don't know. Watching the tape, I kind of like this guy AlSaadi. He seems like a dog. In his Contender Series fight, he pretty much against Chad Hardwick, he was a big favorite. I was on Hardwick, and he came in and just, fucking beat him pillar to post pretty much. Watching the tape, he's a good fighter. He's a good all-around fighter. Little questionable chin. He did get knocked out by some pretty crazy shit. But yeah, I think he's good. Good volume, good power. He's built like a tank. Good grappling. Yeah, I like Zawadi here. Rajabov, we've seen him in the UFC, and he's a dog. He'll fight for your money. So he'll be there. Whether he's all that good, I don't know, but I have real questions about his cardio because later on in the fights he gets there, but he doesn't look. He just looks tired, even though he's still throwing back, and I don't know. I'm gonna go with AlSaadi.
Yeah, so
probably by knockout.
So we're gonna start off with disagreement here. I'm gonna take the dog here. I'm gonna take Rajabov. The thing I like about him, and I do like AlSaadi, his striking's really good. He actually reminds me of a bigger Dan Ige because he just keeps coming forward. His striking's really good. Overall, he's a good, solid fighter, but he's making his debut here. I think Rajabov is better than what we've seen. That last fight, he took on a really tough guy. He kind of just got overwhelmed. I think this fight's going to be a hell of a lot closer. And his takedowns are good. I like the way he runs the pipe. If he's in trouble, he can land a takedown. For DraftKings purposes, I think he's solid, especially on a card where we don't have a lot of dogs. I don't see a lot of dogs winning on this card. I'm going to take my chances with Rajabov taking on a debuting fighter, and we'll see what happens. But I do think it's a close fight. I think it's back and forth, and it can be ugly.
I could see AlSaadi like round 3 knockout when Rajabov is gassed. And
yeah, that's one thing. His gas tank does not look good. That does worry me a bit. But he has landed takedowns when he is tired. So, desperation.
But AlSaadi's grappling is, from what I've seen, is pretty decent.
It looks pretty solid, yeah. And again, like I said, this is a fight where we've got But this is a card where we've got not a lot of dogs
Yeah, so I'm
that are
just
coming through. Rajabov's been
Yeah.
there in the UFC. He's had a couple fights in the UFC. His wrestling is good. He does have some power. So, we'll see. But I'm starting off the card with a dog here. Our next fight is in the bantamweight division. We have a couple newcomers again. We've got Vinicius Oliveira. Or no, what am I looking at here? I got the wrong.
You're right.
Yeah, I've got the wrong fight.
Wrong matchup.
Yeah, let me adjust this.
Oh, you
real
got
quick.
the Klein fight up.
Yeah. So we've got Vinicius Oliveira taking on Bernardo Sapage. Both guys making their debut. Oliveira was scheduled to fight here. Sapage is taking it on short notice, but he was scheduled to fight March 9th for a championship fight in another organization. What are you looking at here?
Tricky one. Tricky one. Because I kind of was high on this kid, Vinicius, back from the Contender Series, and he got me paid out. He's, wild on the feet. He's going to be throwing fucking with reckless abandon. He's been knocked out, I think, a couple times before. Yeah, but he's a Brazilian black belt, and I mean, his grappling is good submissions. The pie, I don't know. I was watching the tape on him. He's got good cardio. He doesn't really do nothing. Like, he's just, I guess he's just a good all around fighter, or just he's all around well rounded. Nothing impressed me with him from the tape. I'm gonna lean Vinicius Oliveira by knockout or sub inside the distance.
All right, so we're gonna disagree here on the first two. So
Let's go.
I'm taking Sapai. Both guys making their debut. Oliveira, he is definitely dangerous. He throws wild, and he can land, and he can finish fights. But what I like about Sapai is he's a good wrestler. He trains with Hamza. He seems to be pretty composed, and the fact he is taking it on short notice. But like I said, he was training.
Yeah, he was in camp.
Fight.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's really taking it on short notice. Oliveira just seems like he has holes. He seems like a guy, he can be really flashy. And he kind of reminds me of one of those guys that if things aren't going his way, he might start dancing. He might start with the antics. And I don't know, man. I just think Sapai's just consistent. And right now he's even money. He's an even money dog. But
you got a little, he's like he's plus 107. He opened I think Salvador opened like minus 150.
Yeah.
And then money came in, and it was like minus 115, minus 105 earlier when I checked at work, and when I got home, it was Salvador was like minus 126 and come back plus 107.
I looked on DK and I saw Sapai at plus 100.
Yeah.
So I mean, depending on the books, you're probably going to get different numbers all over the place. But again, on a card where there's not a lot of value to be had, you got two debuting fighters. I'll take my chances here with Sapai and see what we get.
Yeah, it's the pie decision. I mean, I think if you play him, I think he probably wins by decision if he wins. So you might get some good plus.
Yeah, I would think so, because he probably wrestles. If Oliveira gets tired,
he doesn't really have too much power from what I've seen.
No, I don't think he's very powerful. I think he's a solid fighter. He's just well-rounded.
Yeah.
Oliveira's extremely dangerous, but I think it's going to be, if Sapai can just kind of weather that storm, I think he can land some takedowns, just make it ugly, drag it out. Again, one of the closer fights on the card.
Yep.
We'll see what we get. That brings us to our next fight. Christian Leroy Duncan taking on Claudio Ribeiro. What are you looking at here?
I don't know. It's I like Duncan, but I don't know. He's a good karate stance, good striking. He has let me down against Petrosian. I thought I was on him in that fight. I thought he would do better. Good kickboxing, good striker, good has power. Yeah, and then Ribeiro is just he's pretty much 5 minutes cardio, and then Ribeiro he's not. I mean he's not very good, but he's another wild man that if in that first 5 minutes that if he catches you,
Yeah,
he could fucking put you out. So I think Duncan probably just tries to stay safe for maybe the first 5 or 6 minutes of the fight, and then he probably just takes over, maybe late finish,
yeah, I like Duncan too. I thought about
late
going with
second round
Ribeiro just
finish. I
because
think.
he is dangerous, he is explosive. I'm not overly impressed with Duncan. But the one thing I do like about Duncan is he does have good forward pressure. He could, for the first round, just hold Ribeiro against the cage, even if he's not doing a lot. Just wear on him, wear on the tank. And when Duncan is a little bit tired, he still is very dangerous in the clinch. His dirty boxing is really good. He's really well rounded, and I'm not a big fan of either one of these guys. But I think when push comes to shove, the longer this fight goes, Duncan's the man, and I think he can find a finish as Ribeiro gets tired. But if not, I think he wins a decision. I just think he's the better technical fighter.
Yeah. I mean, great.
All right, so same page there. We'll move on. This next fight, massive favorite. This is where we get into the massive favorites here, and there's going to be a lot of them. We've got Ayman Zahabi taking on Javid Basharat. Basharat, huge favorite here. What are your thoughts going into this fight?
Oh man. I mean, Zahabi has burnt me before. He's one of these fucking tricky guys where it's just you think he's gonna lose, and then out of nowhere he can catch you. I think he's very low volume. I mean, good striker, but very low volume. Doesn't really do much. Comes out of a good camp.
Yeah.
And then Javid. This is the Javid that I'm not too high on. The Basharat brother that I'm not
Yeah.
too high on. I did fade him in the last fight against Henry, and he fucking kicked his balls into his stomach.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Javid is better pretty much everywhere. And I mean, I think it's probably just going to be takedowns, just grappling, back takes, and Zahabi's probably going to be defending the sub for his life. And yeah, I don't know. Probably Basharat decision is what I'll be looking at.
Yeah, I'm leaning the same way. I mean, the odds are just absolutely outrageous. So we're going to have to
What is it,
find
like
out.
minus 850 now?
Last I looked, it was minus 900, which, I mean,
Yeah.
Zahabi is dangerous. He could land a big shot. And
He could land him. He could like that fucking, he could catch him. I mean, we've seen
he's a
him do
very
it
good
before.
striker. His takedown defense isn't terrible. But yeah, like you said, Basharat overall better well-rounded game. And I like him to win. I like the over here because Zahabi's not going to take chances. I would say probably by decision. I don't think Basharat's going to finish him. So yeah, if we can get Basharat by decision at a decent price, that's probably the way to go. But
Yep.
yeah, I mean, Zahabi's live to catch him, but we haven't seen that. Basharat hasn't been stopped yet. So
Yeah.
give me Basharat, give me the over, most likely by decision. And that's just not much to say about that fight, unfortunately.
Yep. So we got another
Right.
minus 1,000 favorite next.
So we've got the next fight. The next fight I have, my fights are a bit out of order, so I don't know if I'm on the same page as you here. But I've
Klein.
got the Ludovic Klein fight. Yeah, all
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
So we've
yeah,
got
yeah.
Ludovic Klein taking on AJ Cunningham. Again, Cunningham making his debut. Kid's tough as nails, I will say. But yeah, again, this is a pretty big mismatch here. I don't know if you have much to say about it, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, AJ Cunningham, contender series guy. He got pretty much whooped on in that fight, just destroyed. But
Yeah,
the big thing was his family or something fed him dog food. That was the big story before the fight, like on his intro. Guy's a tough guy. I mean, he can take some damage. But yeah, and then Ludovic Klein. I mean, I've always been a Ludovic Klein guy. Backed him a lot. Good striker, fucking vicious head kicks.
yeah,
Good wrestling. I mean, yeah, not much to say about here. He's minus 1,000, so you're gonna have to get creative or pick away. You think he's gonna get a knockout, or can Cunningham survive? Pretty much is what you're looking at.
yeah.
And I think he probably finishes him.
My initial lean would be that he finishes him, just because Cunningham takes so much damage, and Klein is such a better technical striker, and his grappling's on point too. He can take the fight to the ground, land some ground and pound. I'm looking at Klein inside the distance. Cunningham, he's just too hittable, and for a guy like Klein, especially after Klein's last fight, I think that was the best he's ever looked in the UFC. He was fighting a taller guy, big reach disadvantage, and he was on point. That was the best I thought he's looked, and this is a fight here where he probably just rolls. He was supposed to fight a much tougher guy, and yeah, I mean, not
And
much.
another thing I heard, I think AJ Cunningham is Bryce Mitchell's cousin. I think I heard that
Are they
somewhere.
cousins? I know he trains with Bryce. I didn't know if they
Yeah,
were
I think they're
related.
cousins. Yeah.
Yeah. And Bryce is a tough kid. He's a good guy to train with, but
No, I mean he's got a good training partner.
yeah,
So
I
who
just
knows?
don't.
I don't think he's even UFC level. So I
No,
think it's
I don't think
probably
so.
just
I don't think so. I think he's just they needed a guy to. I mean, there's 11 fights on this card. They didn't want to lose another fight. We don't
another
want a 10
fight.
fight
Yeah.
card.
No.
So yeah, I mean Cunningham, tough kid, super durable, but it's not. I just don't think it's going to go well for him at all in this one.
Yep.
So we'll move on. Next fight, again, I would say, in my eyes, another squash. This is actually one of my favorite plays on the card because I don't think Jamie Pickett belongs anywhere near the UFC. Going up against Eric Anders, I think Eric Anders runs through him. I don't know if you've got any thoughts on this one, but
Yeah, I mean Jamie Pickett is I mean, we've seen enough of Jamie Pickett in the UFC to know that he's not UFC level. Somehow
right,
he's still fighting for the UFC. Well, probably because he took that Bo Nickel fight, so they probably gave him a new contract for taking that fight.
exactly.
Um, yeah, but I mean, in this, Eric Anders minus 500. I mean,
So
man,
that's the part that
that's
sucks.
hard for me, man. That's
Yeah,
hard for me to get to in any way.
I think Anders finds a way to finish this guy.
He probably man. I mean, is Anders really a finisher? Big finisher?
He's not really a big finisher, but he's much stronger. He is actually UFC material.
It's just the price. I don't like the minus 500 on.
Yeah, no, it's tough. I have zero doubt that Eric Anders wins this fight.
Yeah, I
So
think he probably does wins. It's
if
just
you're
whether
trying
it's a
to put
decision.
together
Yeah.
a parlay, you know, on this card you might need a 3 or 4 fight parlay. Eric Anders would be right up there for me. I don't see how Jamie Pickett wins at all. I don't know. I feel like Anders probably finds a way to finish him. I just don't. I don't think.
Well, then
I
if
don't
you
think
take
Pickett
Anders
has a lot of
KO,
dog
then
in
right,
him. Yeah, he most likely a KO TKO
ground and pound
type situation.
TKO.
Yeah, I just think he beats the brakes off this kid. It's just not. They're not in the same. They're not in the same stratosphere. Jamie Pickett's just not good.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
All right, so that moves us to another
Squash match.
lopsided affair.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull it up here. We've got Matt Schnell taking on Steve Urseg. And Urseg, again, big favorite. I think he's got very good finish equity here. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I just think the durability of Matt Schnell is just not there anymore. The guys took a lot of damage. I mean, but he is a sneaky, savvy veteran that could pull a rabbit out of the hat every once in a while. You could give that to him. Like that Sumadarji fight was one of my favorite fights to watch. I mean, that fight was a great comeback in that fight.
Yep.
But the durability, man, he's just getting rocked, it seems, with every punch. You know? And Steve Urseg, I mean, I like this kid. This kid, he came in on short notice on the Australia card pay-per-view last year. And, you know, he impressed me, man. He looked good. And
yeah,
then he
I've been
continued
impressed
it and
with
they
him.
got another win. And yeah, and then from the tape, I mean, his grappling is good. He's got good transitions, decent striking, good power. Yeah, I like Urseg by submission.
My initial thought before I started on the tape was this. All right, so Schnell, he's an absolute dog. He actually has good grappling. This is a spot where he could get Urseg. And then I watched the tape and I was like, all right, Urseg actually does have really good striking. He doesn't have a lot of finishes striking, but he drops guys and he jumps on submissions. So that's why he doesn't have a lot of finishes in the KO TKO department. He's got very clean striking. He's very well rounded. He shows no emotion. The kid is just straight line. I got a job to do. Gets the job done. Very impressive. Very good grappling. And unfortunately, with Schnell, I always say if a guy's been dropped 3 or more times in the last couple fights, you just can't pick him. And Schnell's been dropped 3 times in his last 2 fights. He's been dropped 4 times in his last 3 fights. And I know he survived the Sumadarji fight. I actually cashed a ticket on him in the Sumadarji fight, but
yeah,
a little bit more luck than skill there. A lot of refs would have stopped that fight, but Schnell's a tough dude. He's scrappy for sure, but I don't know. I like Urseg. I think he gets it done, and I think he probably finds a finish in this one.
Agree. Yep.
All right. That brings us to
another one. No.
This one's a little closer, not really.
Oh, okay.
Another what should be squash match. We have Umar Nurmagomedov taking on Bezik Alikan. Kid's making his debut. Umar is a guy who's probably a fight away from the title. So, minus 1,200 last I looked. What are you thinking here?
Yeah, I mean, Nurmagomedov's his last name, so
right.
The grappling's there. High on this kid. Think he's probably could be the future champ. Yeah, well-rounded, good everywhere. Great fighter. Pulled out of. He was supposed to have the big fight with Corey Sandhagen. I would have liked to seen that, but he pulled out due to injury. Now he was coming back. I think this was supposed to be the Saudi Arabia card. It was supposed to be this weekend. So, I mean, I guess they're just giving him a warm body. But yeah, I looked in the Bet Scott tape, and I mean, he seems like he's got good striking. He seems like he's a good fighter. But yeah, he's not on the level of Umar. I mean, I was watching tape, and this guy's fucking fighting in an octagon with carpet on the floor.
Yeah,
he's fighting in the backyards of Kazakhstan. Like
it's tough. I mean, it's tough with these guys debuting.
I mean, he could be good. I mean, I don't know, but I mean,
he's definitely got some nice highlights. He seems to have solid striking, but the thing about Umar is obviously you hear the name Nurmagomedov and you're like, oh, grappling, blah blah. But he is one of the better strikers that we've seen coming out of Russia. I mean, his striking might even be better than his grappling. The kid's got everything. So yeah, I mean, if this kid's gonna come in and surprise him, it's gonna have to be with something crazy. But yeah, give me Umar. I'm sure he probably finishes this fight.
Yeah, Umar by sub. I'll probably be betting that, most likely.
All right, so it doesn't really get too much better, but we move along. Alex Perez taking on Muhammad Mokaev. Now, at least Perez has been in there with some of the absolute best flyweights in the world. So, I mean, he's fought a lot of championship competition, but his weakness is his submissions defense. And Mokaev, we know, is a strong grappler. Again, Mokaev, a huge favorite here. What are you thinking?
Yeah, Alex Perez, this guy can't seem to get to the cage. Had all the potential. Was on a great streak. Looked great. Good all-around fighter. Good grappling. Good striking. He just can't get to the cage. He took that short notice fight. He fought for the belt 2 fights ago.
Right.
He fought Figgy for the belt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously the ability's there, but is he just a broken fighter is my concern. And the thing about Mokaev, too, Mokaev has been, I mean, he hasn't been a world beater in the UFC. Every single fight, he's been in dangerous positions where he could lose.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just, yeah, I mean, the grappling's good. Cardio's good. But, yeah, the striking isn't there. And what if, what if Perez can stuff the takedowns, wear him down a little bit, land some good strikes? I mean, we I don't know. There's question marks on this fight for me. I don't know what kind of Alex Perez I'm getting. Mokaev hasn't looked the best, shaky. But if I'm picking someone to win, I'm going to pick Mokaev. Probably round 3 or decision. Probably sub if he gets it done.
I'm in the same boat. I wanted to find a reason for Perez. If the fight stays standing, I think Perez gets the job done. But man, he's just his submission defense is just not great. And Mokaev, for all his flaws, his wrestling's still on point. His submissions are still on point. And when push comes to shove late in the 3rd round, he's always found a way to get that submission.
Yep.
So Perez hasn't won a fight in 4 years. I know he's fought the best of the best, but with injuries and just getting smoked out in a couple fights by submission, it's tough to know where this kid's at. I like Mokaev. I think he wins. Again, if I bet it, I'm probably betting him to win by sub, but I'm not sure. I'm even gonna do anything with this fight, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'll probably just bet My usual Makayev bet, round 3 or decision.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to go. I mean, this
Now we
dude
need to
has
see. Now we need to see Perez on the scales though tomorrow to really see, if this
right.
fight goes through. But Makayev on Twitter said, "I don't care if he misses. I'm fighting." So
Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to probably get the fight regardless. But I mean, Makayev's been he's been the last minute of the third round pretty much in every fight, the last few fights. So if you're looking at Makayev round 3 or decision, that's not a bad way to
yeah,
go.
that's been my Makayev bet that's been coming through.
Yeah. All right, so we move on. I guess a little bit more of a close fight on paper. We've got Vitor Patrino taking on Tyson Pedro in the light heavyweight division. What are your thoughts on this one?
I mean, Pedro is dangerous in that first 5 minutes. He could. I mean, just if he doesn't get it done, then he's cooked. I mean, the level of competition this guy is beating is just not very good. Yeah, it's got to be Patrino, but Patrino, I mean, he's really impressed me, man. He's dangerous everywhere, and he's implemented that grappling game into his game plan. And I mean, I think if he can survive that first 5 minutes without getting touched and just maybe wear on him, take him down, I think he'd probably finish Pedro after the first round.
Yeah, I've looked for reasons to fade Patrino just because he's explosive. The cardio, I kind of question his cardio when he came into the UFC. But even in his debut, when he looked tired, and I thought, okay, this is it. This is why I faded this guy. He finds a way to push through. His power's always there. His grappling's always there. I think he's very good. And now he's a few fights into the UFC. I don't think Pedro is all that good. He does have some sneaky submissions. He has a nice Kimura. He is dangerous. He does have solid striking. He can catch you. But I think Patrino is just stronger. I think he's overall just more well-rounded. He can take Pedro down and wear on him. I think even if Pedro took him down, he's not holding him down. Patrino's too explosive. He gets up. So I like Patrino here. I think he finishes this fight second or third round.
Yeah, Patrino inside the distance, depending on the number.
Yeah, that's probably where I'm gonna go.
Yeah, or take like a round Patrino, round 2 or 3.
Yeah, 2 or 3 for sure. I mean, I think Pedro's always live in the first round. But again, like you really go back and you look at who he's beat. He's the
Harry
ultimate.
Hunsucker.
He's the ultimate can crusher.
Yeah.
So, give me Patrino. Which we're motoring through this one. This is probably going to be our shortest show of the year. That brings us to our main event. We've got Rozenstruik taking on Gaziev. What are your thoughts on this one?
I like Rozenstruik. I mean, but I don't know. He's I bet on him before and he's let me down. Where he'll sit there and he'll stare at you and not throw anything. And you're like, dude, throw a freaking punch. What are you doing? You're just staring him down. And there's cases where it's like Alistair Overeem, boom, bang, one, done. Chris Dawkins went in there, just ran right through him. Usually these are the guys that Rozenstruik just puts him out. And then Gaziev, I don't know, man. I don't know about Gaziev. I think he's got good wrestling, but I question his cardio. If it gets out of the first round, I think, and then Rozenstruik, he hasn't fought in a while. And he did say in his interview that he has been working on his grappling. So I don't know what you can do in the year and a half you've been gone, or what was it, like a year he's been gone?
Yeah, he's been off for a little over a year. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know how much you can work on in that time, but I mean, you got that death. That guy's always got that death touch, so it's always going to be there, you know. And
Yeah.
I don't really see Gaziev knocking him out. I could see him taking him down and maybe submitting him, or maybe ground and pound on the ground where the referee jumps in and stops it. But
Right.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with
So
the dog here. I'm gonna go Rozenstruik by knockout.
I wanted to go Rozenstruik as well. And I've looked at the numbers. The underdog in 5-round fights this year was 6-2, I believe. The underdogs have been cashing like crazy in 5-round fights. The only problem is, and I know Gaziev doesn't come out and look for takedowns right off the bat. He is actually a decent striker. But man, if he gets Rozenstruik down, I think he can just pound him out. So my official pick is going to be Gaziev. But if we get into the second, third round, I'm going to be looking at a live bet Rozenstruik because I don't think Gaziev's going to be able to hold up, especially over 5 rounds. There's no way. So I like Gaziev. I think he's front loaded. He gets an early finish. If not, I'll be looking at Rozenstruik to get
because that power, Rozenstruik's power is no joke.
Yeah.
He's dropping guys with jabs, like putting them out.
Yeah, he's got great power. He's
Yeah.
a good striker. But man, his
Just
takedown
little low volume though.
so bad.
Yeah,
And
but he's getting taken down by Curtis Blades, Alexander Volkov, Jailton Almeida.
no, I
Like,
hear you.
I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I definitely
This
that
is-
trust me. That's what I was looking at, but I just think that the takedown that Almeida took him down with was just so bad. I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't pull the trigger. And the numbers would say just back the dog here. But I'm gonna roll with Gaziev. I'm gonna probably bet him first round, and then I don't think I'm gonna tie him. I'm not gonna have my whole night riding on him. And I think if Rozenstruik gets into the second and third rounds, I'll be on Rozenstruik to win this fight for sure. Well, officially, Gaziev is my pick.
All right.
All right, so we just blew through this card.
Only 11 fights. A lot
Only
of
11
one-sided.
fights. We've got a lot of favorites. I mean, massive favorites. It's tough to find value here. Officially, I think we're both on two underdogs as it stands right now. But we're looking for a good weekend. We've got NASCAR. We've got the UFC. Pull up this schedule here right now.
Jake Paul's fighting. Manny Serrano. Yeah, so that'll be a circus.
So we're going to be live pretty much all weekend.
Early card too on Saturday.
What's that?
Early card.
Yeah, we got
10:30
early card.
for me. Yeah.
I think it's 1:30 for us. I've got it pulled up here. Yeah, I think it's 1:30 on the East Coast. So that's what 10:30 for you, 11:30.
Yep.
So we got Xfinity, Keg, Coop. We'll be live for Take It to the Bank tomorrow night. So we've got a lot of stuff going on. We'll be live pretty much all weekend, hitting live bets from NASCAR, UFC. So obviously, if you're not in the Discord, hop into the Discord. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else there is. Join the Patreon, and yeah, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna win some money, and that's it. So I guess quick show. Sorry guys, it was again very lopsided card, short card. But for Johnny, I'm Tommy. We'll see you on Saturday.
Laters.